Recently, I bought a ball. Though he's not yet walking, he welcomed the ball and then he showed that he can also kick when seated. He put the ball there next to his legs and then he kicks.
He likes so much to repair. So he always searches for the hammer in the house to make sure that things which are broken are fixed back.
Hi, my name is Dr. Daniel Lukwiya. I'm a pediatrician and child health specialist. I love children, always have and always will.
It was a quick delivery for me. 1, 2, 3 contraction and Mordecai was there. When she brought the baby to me, you know, that first thing that mothers do, they check the babies. When I looked at him, I'm like, I know this face.
When this child was 6 months old, she was born healthy. She was looking very handsome. But when at the age of 6 months, he was not able to sit. So we started asking ourselves, there is a lady, she's my friend. She came and looked at Lincoln. For her, she had a different view. She said, Lincoln does not look like other kids.
Before we had Mordecai, I have a brother, my eldest brother, who happens to have a daughter. She's almost 30 or 30 something, I'm not very sure. But my perception, or our perception as a family, was that our elder brother is involved in witchcraft, deep witchcraft, or maybe she sacrificed the soul of her child, so she became insane, she became mad, or she had that diagnosis we didn't actually know until when we got Mordecai. So when I looked at him, I knew with no doubt that he has something that I didn't have a name for. So I called the midwife and said, you come and tell me, to look at my baby. What do you see? She said, I don't see nothing. He's a normal baby. I'm like, no, look at his facial features.
Me, I was ignorant. I didn't know what was taking place because I was seeing Lincoln looking very healthy. So she said, when I look at Lincoln's eyes, I see something different. Then I asked her, what is different? What is the difference? What are you seeing? What are you not seeing? Me, I'm seeing Lincoln as a normal child. She said, no.
But she said, maybe when I look at his other features, they are small fingers, small feet. Maybe he was a premature. She mentioned, I said, no, these are 9 months and he can't be a premature with long nails. Like he had nails which were long.
Then she directed me somewhere. I went there with the dad. When we were entering in the gate, the woman who was at the gate, I think she didn't have, maybe she was not trained enough. Then she told me, hey, banange, she spoke in Uganda. Ono mwana alina Down Syndrome.
So what is Down syndrome? Down syndrome is a genetic disorder. It's something that, you know, when human beings are being born or when we're being created, right from the time when we are conceived, the genetic code is being written. With Down syndrome, what happens is during that coding of the DNA, the body makes an error. And when that error is made, the chromosomes, the things that carry the information that make us who we are, tend to be displaced. And with that displacement, we end up having abnormalities that manifest physically on the body of the person that has Down syndrome. So in a nutshell, Down syndrome is a genetic disorder that happens during formation of the child in the womb, but it starts at the point of conception. So the features of Down syndrome, there are 2 main ways that we diagnose Down syndrome. In Uganda, the most common way we do it is through the clinical features, what we see, what is exhibited on the body of the child. We have what we call a flattened nasal bridge. They have sort of a flat face. They may have slight widening of the space between the eyes. Their ears may be slightly low set. They may have some extra skin folds around the neck. On the palm of their hands, they tend to have one crease. As you can see, many people have multiple. They tend to have one. And then also in the feet, the space between the big toe and the other toes, there's a bit of a widening there as well. Others may also have widened space between the nipples. So when we see some of these features, because they're a bit characteristic with Down syndrome, most times that's what we use to diagnose. However, we can actually do a test called karyotyping. So we take blood, and it's many times shipped to India, and they run a test for us, a genetic test that can map out and show exactly what type of Down syndrome we are having. So normally that is what we encourage to do. However, it's a cost, so many times we end just at the clinical features.
We need other parents to be aware, to know exactly what Down syndrome is, because we didn't know exactly what it was. So we know there are many parents out there who doesn't know what Down syndrome is. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to expect. So we've walked this journey at least for nearly 2 years, so we can at least have something to say to the parents out there.
There are many people who are ignorant about Down syndrome. So I think this is an awareness to help one or two parents who may be undergoing the same.
He didn't panic initially because he didn't know exactly what was happening with our child until when we thought that something is completely wrong, when he couldn't breathe normally, he couldn't feed, he couldn't open his eyes like other children.
This is something that it's out of their control, and it's something that happens randomly as the children are being born, as the children are being formed in the womb. Many parents blame themselves for the occurrence, mostly because as human beings, we want to find someone to blame when something goes wrong. And it's a natural feeling. We want things to be perfect. And when they're not perfect, we tend to look inwardly to try to find a reason why something has not happened the way it usually does.
When Lincoln was young, there is a friend who approached me and asked me, did you ask what could be the problem? Did you visit any witchcraft to give you some medicine for Lincoln to get better? Me, I don't believe in witchcraft.
So witchcraft is an integral part of African society. And unfortunately, it has been also romanticized to help justify things that we can't explain. During my time at Mulago, the pediatric department there, many parents that brought children with Down syndrome had in the back of their mind someone who did something to cause this. And we spoke for, I think, about 45 minutes, and I was trying to explain, and I had a piece of paper, and I started drawing and showing her, how all these genetic things are working. Later on, she did reach acceptance.
When they look at these kids, as we mentioned earlier, that they think of witchcraft behind this diagnosis. So they might actually tell you, go and see so-and-so, go and see this witch doctor, do go there. They should not do that.
95 to 98% of Down syndrome is randomized, and it is, the medical term we like using is aberrant. It just happens by itself. From the time of birth, when the child is born, we want to start helping these children. We have to find out what complications have been attached to this child that currently has Down syndrome. As early as the child is born and the diagnosis is gotten, that is the point with which we start supporting these children.
Whenever I get back home, he's the person who gives me the warmest hugs, the biggest smiles. He's always happy. I feel like there is something that I've experienced that is quite different from the other siblings. There's something different I experience from Lincoln that I don't experience from the other siblings. His warmth, his love, his laughter, like he just makes me feel alive. So I just enjoy being his sibling, and I feel like it's like a blessing for me to be actually his sibling.
They are extremely loving, extremely giving. What they want to do is to enjoy. Small things give them so much joy, and they have so much love to give.
We assumed that he's going to be a very difficult baby to handle, but what has come out of that, or what we have experienced so far, that is the easiest baby to handle. He loves absolutely every dish that we prepare in the kitchen, unlike other kids. It is you that say, no, Mordecai, you have eaten a lot, you can't have more. You say that.
He loves food.
He loves his food.
They do have delayed milestones. We have delay in when they can sit, the delay when they can crawl, delay when they can walk. They even have delay in speech. However, this doesn't limit them from achieving these milestones. What we have to do is to be intentional. What we have to do is gain as much support as possible. We know that there are two main components to someone developing. One, there is nature, and then there is nurture. So we may not be able to control nature, but we can definitely control nurture and support these children.
Yeah, he had his open heart surgery, but when he received his open heart surgery, he is well. He has no problem at all, apart from the infections that he picks here and there.
The common congenital defects that they have, the most common is the congenital heart defect. There are a number of them, but the most common is what we call it the atrioventricular septal defect. So the heart has 4 chambers. It's separated by muscle and valves. So the valves are what let blood in and blood out. Unfortunately, with the congenital heart defects, sometimes there are problems with the valves, sometimes there are holes in the muscle of the heart, and this can severely affect the children. When this happens, many of them do require surgery to repair the heart, to repair the valves, and this is meant to help support them.
When he was detected, he was also had a heart challenge. He had a heart challenges because he started falling sick or what. Then we were advised to take him to the hospital. Went to Mulago. They checked him and he was found with holes. He had holes on the heart. But by God's grace, we were given a year to go back and check. After 1 year, then they checked. We were given hopes that the thing is closing. By the grace of God, we checked for the 3rd time, and they told us that he can now grow.
If the surgeries are done in time, if the children are supported quite well, we're able to have good life expectancy. Other defects that they may have problems with the thyroid gland. So it's what helps to regulate how we put on weight, which can cause and can affect their growth. A number of them tend to have issues with blood. So they have a dysregulation of their immune system. So sometimes they're more susceptible to infections, so that can affect them. They also do have trouble with what we call sleep apnea. Because of the flattening of the nose, their tongues are a little big, so it blocks their airway. So as they breathe at night when they're sleeping, they tend to struggle and they snore quite a bit, and that affects their growth. When all those are corrected and we're able to get this child what we call a good quality of life, this helps to improve their life expectancy.
For those who are aware, like this organization, I want to thank this organization so much. They always calls us and mentors us, teaches us how to handle these kids.
We worry about how he would go about his education. As we have one child we know in the community that has Down syndrome. He's just 13 years, but he's been moved to several schools, actually more than 5 schools. He goes to another school, they bring him back to this school, he's bullied, they laugh at him, the kids, you know, they tease him around because he has to put on a diaper and he's 13 years.
Has been in school for 4 years, but he cannot write his name. The world is digitalized. I am worried whether he's going to be educated, whether he's going to learn.
I wish the world would accept them more and then make it more inclusive for them so that they don't feel discriminated. They don't feel like, okay, I have something wrong, I'm not normal, I'm not okay.
It's a bit rough on them for us to want them to see things our way. And many times when we do encourage them and we explore the world with them, many times they get out of their shell a bit more and they're actually able to unleash a lot of the potential that they have.
They have love more than anybody else. And they stay around. They are always around you.
We love him so much. Actually, he's our painkiller. When you go back home and you don't find him, you feel as if there's no one at home.
But importantly, I would tell them, don't blame yourself. It's not you. You're not the problem. The child is not the problem. It's in this game of life, these are the cards that have been dealt.
They should take one day at a time. They should enjoy their kids. They should love them, embrace them, accept them.
Love your children. Stand with them. Be there with them. Be there for them. Because you are the role model. You are their first fan. You are their first support. Because if you don't give it, who else will give it? Be there.